So I think your deal breakers can change in the sense like it wouldn't disappear, but you would get more. Like with each person you date, like every time you see like
stack up
new,
a collecting
yeah,
card.
yeah.
So I think for myself, like a deal breaker would be like someone who is not driven. I think I find myself like usually attracted to like people who are like, who kind of like know what they kind of want to do in life, I guess. I won't say it's a very big deal breaker, but it's just something that I tend to like avoid from a potential partner. Yeah.
So red flag is like, it's more like a sign where maybe it's something I don't like instead of something I should end this relationship because of this red flag. So it's like a sign that, oh, I don't really like this part of the person. My deal breaker is like, oh, cheating, must break up kind of thing lah.
Okay.
You know, like...
What if it's like more serious red flags? Like, for example, one time he got a bit too aggressive, that kind of thing.
I feel like that would be a deal breaker already. Because if it's a bit aggressive means it can escalate to something very big that it may end the relationship. But red flag is just like small things that I don't really like. That's my opinion of red flag.
For me, my deal breaker would be someone who is maybe like very touchy with like the opposite gender, and also someone who is too disconnected from me.
Okay.
So what I mean by disconnected would be like someone who's too mysterious, like about his own life in general, like doesn't share too many things with me and keeps a lot of things away from me. Yeah.
I think same actually for myself. Yeah, a bit also. Like I don't really like someone who doesn't really share their like life with with you, right?
Yeah, because like makes me very insecure if I don't know a lot of things about you.
Then like why are you hiding from? Right? Like I'm your partner, then like why are you hiding it from me?
Yeah, I feel that it's normal to share, like, you know, like maybe like your problems or at least your plans. Like you don't just go missing or MIA without telling them what you're doing. I feel that it's just generally like more of like a mutual respect to each other if you were to share your, you know, your stuff. Okay, so my deal breaker is something that is more physical. If I'm in a relationship, I would want to depend on somebody, so definitely somebody taller than me. If I'm with somebody smaller size than me, I don't think I will feel safe or like, you know, like you want to depend on somebody because I feel like I need to take care of this person instead. Okay, so one example is when I was overseas with my ex-boyfriend and my friends, and then I actually got upskirted by this guy. Even though it's at a foreign country with a foreign language, she still stood up for me and went to chase after the guy. Can you imagine if you're being with somebody that saw this but then one like, it's okay lah, let it go. That kind of thing,
Yeah, for sure. That's quite
yeah, so obviously it's like a very big deal breaker for me if they cannot even stand up for me.
For myself, like, cause I feel like I have certain like pet peeves, and there were certain things whereby like I kind of noticed it at the start of the relationship when it's like, you know, the honeymoon phase, you kind of like tend to forgive things, but then I think like towards the end you like it starts to annoy you lah. So I feel like this person always keep doing the same thing. Like you would rather they sort of change, or like why you cannot just like do it differently. You know that I don't really like it, but at the same time you still keep doing it. So I think that's like my perspective on it. Yeah.
I feel like I agree with that. Like for example, if I really want to stop this relationship, but then if they come and tell me that like, oh, they will change and all these kind of things, then I will easily be okay lah. Okay, I'll try again. Right. Then after a while, everything just pans up into something so big, you know.
When you say you change, do they actually change, or is like they say only?
Okay, so every time it's always just the first few weeks they will like try to be a little bit better. Then after a while they just go back to the same. Then I cannot take it again. Then you come and like sayang me a bit. Then okay again. You know, it's just very repetitive. Then in the end, everything pans up. You know, just blinded by like your feelings and stuff. Then you think that okay, I can work this out.
Do you feel like the act of just him saying it, like at least he's trying to put in effort? If someone were to do that, like I know that they have this problem, but they keep like, okay, they still like, okay, I'll put in effort to try and be better because I know you do.
I feel that sometimes people may just say for the sake of saying, just to still keep the relationship, just because they don't want to end. Then they'll say, okay, I will change.
I mean, I do believe that people can change, but I think for me personally, like when it comes to like my deal breakers, for example, like different religious beliefs, I don't think that they should change that for me. So I should avoid that. Or for example, like someone who's very secretive, I think that's something that's ingrained into them, and I don't think I'm able to change that.
Like different people have different expectation of what compromise is. So like, you expect this person to compromise to this level, but their idea of compromise is like, oh, I just do until like that, it's compromise really.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, because like my partner's like compromising is not, he's the one that's always saying sorry first. But for me, it's like when I compromise, it's like I don't do that thing that he dislikes. Or,
Right. Yeah. So
And I need to have a conversation, like you need to find a middle ground. I feel that that's what compromisation is. Like if you really like a person well enough, I feel that it is possible to change. Yeah, so it's something that I feel that is you want to do it or not for that particular party.
I mean, it's like I feel like everybody wants to believe that their partner can change, but at the same time, it's like in order for like that belief to happen, it's like I feel like it starts from you. So like, if you can change for them, then maybe they can see it and then be like, oh, this person is actually doing this thing for me. Then hopefully they will change. So I feel like it's not about believing that they can change. It's more of like I feel like it's like you do this to me, then I will give it back to you. For me, I mean that's how I feel about it.
So I think your deal breakers can change in the sense like it wouldn't disappear, but you would get more. Like with each person you date, like every time you see like
stack up,
new,
collecting
yeah,
card.
yeah.
I'm not sure if deal breakers are cultured or like you kind of when you meet someone new, you suddenly find something. I feel like because we all have certain things that we really don't like. So when we're looking for partners or like when we meet people, there are certain traits whereby in the instance when you meet the right person, you can vibe with that person. It's like quite instantaneous, I would say, or like you know it can work out. So I feel like in a sense, this only happens because like it's already always been inside you and it's just like awakened or something. You know what I mean? So I think just like I mentioned, like my deal breaker is like someone who is not driven, right? I don't know. I feel like okay, maybe because like when I was younger, I was sort of like I like this girl, but then like I think I put a lot of stakes into like chasing her. You know, like I like it's like really like sim for her kind of thing. But then it's like I think like then it didn't really work out. From then on, I realized like like you gotta work on yourself first, that kind of thing. So I feel like by working on yourself, when you know who you are, then like the person that you sort of attract will naturally sort of be drawn to you. I don't know if you sort of feel that way, but then so I think then that was a period of like really figuring out myself. So then I don't need to rely on another person to like feel like as a whole person. I don't feel like I need to be in a relationship to like some people it's like wow, when I'm not in a relationship they feel very like wow, like lost, that kind of thing. But for me it's like I'm okay with being alone, that kind of thing. So we're still like a team, but we're also like individualistic in a sense. So yeah, so I think that's how my deal breaker sort of like came about, I feel. Yeah.
I think that it's very important to know this person everything first before you start something serious.
Yeah.
You like date for 2 weeks and get together, then in the end, then you get to know the true side of this person. Then your feelings are too deep inside really that you don't want to end it, so it becomes toxic.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I feel like now when I go into if I were to like go into the next relationship, like I would sort of take my time and like sort of like identify these things first and like
I'm very hard on my friends when I hear like their stories. Like I'm just like, oh, this guy's bad for you, leave him, like break up. But then when it comes to myself also, I just like tolerate, just keep holding on to it. But yeah, like Alvin mentioned also, like ultimately in the end, this kind of thing is like it might not change, and the more you tolerate it, like the longer you drag it out, it's just it's still gonna end in anyway.
Exactly. It's very easy to be like infatuated by a person and then you just like I can let it slide, but at the end it might sort of cultivate into something that you cannot take it at the end, which I don't want to sort of go through that mistake again. I think it's not fair to both parties. It's not just for myself, but it's not fair to like the other person. So because I feel like that's on you or like myself. So I think for me what has changed is like just being more careful and like just identifying these things first before like jumping into a relationship and just taking your time to find out. Yeah.